Okay, now we're going to move out to my shop, my automotive shop, where I'm going to install this old Carrier evaporator cord. I'm going to install it in the plenum chamber of a gas furnace that I have out at my shop. You can see the expansion valve on this old unit, and you can see that it's shaped much like an A-frame. You have to make some brackets to mount it in this plenum chamber, and again it has to be at such an angle that it can drain. I cleaned the old brackets real good and primed them with Rust-Oleum Rusty Metal Primer. You can see the lines going through the wall, the brand new lines that are going to run to this unit, out to that Carrier round one that's located behind the building. When you install this unit, make sure that you make it as airtight as you can so the air flows through it and not around it. Now, I use some GE pure silicone caulking to seal any places that had gaps. Now, I mounted this unit where the air goes through the air conditioning unit first, then up through the furnace fan and out the ducts, but you can mount it above the furnace. It really doesn't matter. Now, I used the transformer that was on this new gas furnace. This is only like 3 years old, 4-year-old gas furnace at my shop. I used that transformer to power the thermostat. I did not use the old Carrier transformer. You can only use one transformer to power that thermostat. And of course, since there was no air conditioning unit out at my shop to start with, I had to wire it for 220. Somebody's going to fuss at me for calling it 220 when it's probably more truly 240, and 110 is now closer to 118, 120. Now, here's the old Carrier round one unit out at my auto shop, mounted on a pad that I poured, and I poured that pad large enough that if I ever want to replace this unit, I'll have a pad big enough to install a new unit. Again, this pad is about 4 inches thick and is made from Saccharete. And here's another view with all the lines installed. Now, in my home, this is back at my home now, here's my new thermostat. This is a Honeywell fully programmable 7-day thermostat. I really like it. Cost a little over $100, but it works flawless. It's backlit as you see here. It works great. It even has a clock as you see here. It also has a filter change reminder. Now, this thermostat comes with all the wiring instructions, and like I say, it's low voltage, nothing to be afraid of. Just make sure you get your wires hooked up right and you won't have a problem. And here's another view, and I really do like Honeywell. Okay, now this is a contactor relay. Let's discuss that. That's a funny name for it. I would call it the main power relay, but what do I know? On 240, you'll have 2 wires called line in, and each one will be 120 volts. Both combined make 240. Duh. So you have 240 going in, you have 240 going out, and right in the center of this contactor relay you can see 2 large contacts that join the 2 sides together. Now, the thermostat supplies low voltage current to the yellow arrows, to the yellow terminals, and that turns the contactor relay on to give the compressor the 240 volts to operate. These contactor relays do give a lot of problems. That's the reason I had trouble with the Carrier, the old Carrier unit. I put a new contactor relay on it before I took it out to my auto shop to install. The points you see here in the center will usually become so pitted and so corroded that you'll only have air conditioning part of the time. The compressor won't kick in. Now, once you've got all this installed and all your lines are secure and silver soldered and you feel good about it, well, then you, depending on your system, now my system, like I said, came charged. So once I pulled a vacuum on it, all I had to do was open the valves and it filled that system almost completely full of R22. If yours is a different brand or an older model, then you're going to have to pull a vacuum on it. You're going to have to charge it the correct amount of R22 or whatever it uses. Now, as you probably know, the way a sight glass works is that you can look through the little glass, and when all the bubbles are gone, it's full of Freon. However, a lot of these new units cannot be charged that way. They have to be charged by weight or other methods. So I don't necessarily recommend doing that using a sight glass. However, it did work fine with me. Both my units have been running fine now. They're both doing great. And like I say, you really shouldn't be afraid of this if you have some good basic skills. But don't attempt it unless you do. I do all my own repairs. And it might be plumbing, electrical, cars, air conditioning, lawnmowers, weed eaters, you name it. But anybody can do that if you'll just take the time to learn and do some research, find out where you can get a good price on the parts. Don't be afraid to do things. Through the years, I've saved myself a lot of money by doing my own repairs, but that's all going to change. I'm 66. I can't do this forever. But don't be afraid to learn. Don't be afraid to try. If you never try, you'll never get anything done. Save yourself a lot of money. Hope you've enjoyed this video, and I've enjoyed making it for you, and I hope it's a big help to you.